G'day everyone, welcome back to the late afternoon glass off. We've got a new little gremlin involved today, Lennix Smith, and also Zach Whiteman, co-host of the podcast. How are we, lads? What's going on?
Yes, boys.
Hello.
What's doing?
Mate, absolutely kicking the feet up.
Beautiful. You lads are down in Phillip Island for the QS 3000 that's running there right now. You haven't surfed as of yet. We record this on a Monday afternoon. You're in QS and Pro Junior, Leno?
Yeah, last year the Pro Junior, so I'm just milking that, and then, QS as well.
And then Zach's down there on Billabong's dime, driving a 300 series and doing... What are you doing down there, Zach? Talk to us. What's your role?
Kissing babies' heads at the beach.
Nice. Shaking hands, kissing babies?
Yeah, showing face around the comp, just the old stomping grounds for him.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Letting everyone know he's there.
No interest, Zach, to get a jersey and throw it on, or you're fully out of it?
I thought about it today until I saw the waves. They're absolutely fucked. So I'm happy on the beach. It's cold. It's howling on shore. It's like 40 knots on shore. It's about 10 foot. So, yeah, I'm happy on the beach this time around. But the forecast is looking pretty good for the rest of the week, so it could change.
Beautiful. And you'll most likely surf tomorrow, Leno, is that right?
Yeah, most likely I'll be on tomorrow.
Beautiful. So, yeah, by the time this podcast drops, which will probably be Wednesday or Thursday, you'll be in the quarterfinals by that point, just starting your charge towards the 3,000 points. Is that what we're thinking?
Yeah, it should be in the quarters by then, on the front foot.
Love it.
I just love that Leno's going again after getting an equal third not too long ago. Obviously, Bronson getting the win, Leno, commendable effort as well, equal third, and he's going to go again. So probably a lot of crew out there going, thank fuck that guy's aged out, but he's actually not. He's going back to back.
He's back, baby.
Yeah. I'm still there, boys.
Bloody oath. Look, how long have you been down there for? What you just been stomping around for the last sort of week or so?
Yeah, pretty sure I've been down here for like 3 full days now. Is that right, Lyman?
Yeah, we got here a bit earlier. Got here on Thursday, went to the pool, flew down. I think you had a bit of a time driving from, where was it, Sydney to here, which is 10 hours. Can you explain what happened?
Yeah, so I drove down here with Jarvis, Earl, and Caleb Tankard. In Jarvis's car. It's like, pretty sure it took us like 11 hours to drive down here. No AC in the car. Jarvis's passenger seat. Window wouldn't bloody wind down. We were actually sweating our ringers off in there. It was the cookedest drive. And we were all like taking turns of driving as well. So each rotation, like, we'd all put our back sweat on the seat, and then we'd be like, far out, seat's that wet, and then we'd just keep rotating. It was that good. But yeah, 11 hours of that. It was a fucking piss take. But got it done. The day before, I drove from the Goldie, or I drove from Byron to my house, which is 10 hours, and then the day after, I drove from my house to Phillip Island.
My God, yeah, that's a mission. You've also, as well, speaking of moving around, you've just sort of relocated yourself to the beautiful Northern Rivers region. How's life been up that way?
Yeah, mate, just in Byron, just cruising in Byron, you know what it's like in there, just live free, fresh air, trees and stuff, out in nature most of the time. Just hanging there with my misso and just relaxing.
Yeah.
So what you mean by that? Sorry to jump in. Living free, relaxing, and things like that. So, if I was to go down to the rec car park on Sunset, are you playing the bongos, or are you what instrument are you playing at 5 p.m. at the rec car park?
So I'm more of like a singer-songwriter kind of guy. So
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I'm
we've
usually
seen a
down
couple
there.
of you come through, mate. We've seen them come through.
Yeah, just I'm down there most Thursdays and Fridays. But yeah.
Have you?
No,
Did that also mean with your move to Byron, you've ceased using deodorant and you've grown your armpit hair out? Is that what's been going on there?
Yeah, pretty much. Like I've got this. I've been put onto this Yuka app, and I like scan all this stuff. You can ask
Yeah.
what, and I've been doing it all week.
Are you on, dude? I'm not gonna lie. I've got that app. I don't use it like super frequently, but it's pretty crazy to see some of the stuff that these sort of companies get away with putting in your food or your health products.
Yeah, it just seems to me like everything's got bloody cancer in it, and you're gonna die if you eat or drink it.
Can I
What have
just
you been
jump in
scanning?
though? I've got one thing. I saw him at the local fruit grocer here on Phillip Island, and he scanned a bottle of coconut water, and he wanted to know if there was sugar in it. And I was like, okay. And I said, are you counting calories or something? I wasn't aware of this process. And he said, no, I'm actually scanning it for sugar intake because the sugar in it makes it taste not as good, or it doesn't hydrate you as much as one without sugar, is allegedly what he said. And then I purchased my things and I left the store, and then he's come out with a can of Coke, full sugar. Like, I was like, mate, what the fuck are you doing? So I
Yeah, it
don't
has
know
to be
what he's
done.
telling everyone on Instagram. Like, he's probably a Byron influencer now saying he's fucking watching his waistline. But I can tell you in the flesh, he's still smacking cans of carpet cleaner every day.
I can't look. I can't really criticize too heavily there because I'm on that program as well. I like to drink Coke. It's refreshing. It's yum. So Leno, I'm with you. Where did you come from originally? Where's your stomping grounds? Where did you grow up?
I grew up on the south coast, on just in Shell Harbour. There, it's like this small little town just south of Wollongong. It's probably like 2 hours south of Sydney, and yeah, pretty lucky where I grew up. Actually, just right on Barrack Point, just hell right, pretty sick.
Yeah, yeah. And like, when did you sort of start? Not necessarily start surfing, but start going. Oh, look, I'm pretty good at this. Like, I'm gonna go after this. Like, what age do you reckon you were at?
To be honest, like I feel like because I grew up in such a small little town, and there wasn't really like that many kids surfing like around. Probably not till like I was a bit older, because you're not really surfing with anyone, so you don't actually like you can't compare yourself
Yeah,
to what's around you.
yeah,
Honestly, like I think I got sponsored when I was by Billabong, but I was like 9, I think, and I was like could not believe it. I was in tears just thinking like, how has this happened? And yeah, maybe like after a couple years after that, I would have been like maybe 12 and stuff. Maybe 12, I was like, oh, like fuck. Maybe I'm alright. Maybe I could actually do this. But you don't, I feel like you don't even think about that when you're that young. It kind of
yeah.
just all happens. It all just falls into place, I guess. I don't know, like, other kids might be different, but I was kind of just like, whatever. I just loved it, to be honest. Like,
For
just
sure, for
loved
sure.
it.
Like, I guess as well, like when you're growing up somewhere where, like you said, maybe not too many other surfers that are necessarily at your level. You don't really have that comparison, so you're probably just out there doing your thing, and then you rock up at the next beach, and you're like, oh, I'm kind of better than a lot of these crew here as well. And then I suppose from there you go and do the comp cycle, and you get the real comparison there, and then I guess like you said, you get picked up by Billabong, and that's a pretty good indicator straight away. Like one of the major brands picking you up, I guess then yeah, you can sort of start channeling it in and going, look, I'm gonna have a crack here, and that's kind of led you, like you're kind of a bit of a product of where you grew up, I guess. Like say, I'm not sure if everyone would know this, but you're a bit of a nutcase. In terms of some of the waves that you surf. Don't have to drop spot names necessarily, but there's a couple of haunts around your joint, hey, that it get pretty serious when the swells pick up.
Yeah, 100%. Like, honestly, like, it's probably pretty, like, standard saying this, but I feel like I grew up in like one of the best spots possible. Like the waves there are pretty tapped, and like there's only a majority of people that surf at home, just like a couple of the boys. So every time it's cooking, it's just us out, and we're never hassling. And it's just like so easy, and you can pick your lines and stuff. But yeah, it's super heavy, and I feel like the waves are definitely world class. So like again, pretty lucky to grow up where I did. It's pretty psycho.
For sure. And then so that sort of led you. What year was your Tahiti trip? Was that 2 years ago?
Yeah, 2 years ago, I was fresh 18.
And I feel like that was sort of the one that probably put you on a lot of people's maps. What, like, obviously you just recently dropped your clip Beagle, which was outstanding, by the way. If you haven't seen that, listeners, go and check it out. It'll be on Billabong's YouTube. I'm assuming, Zach, is that right?
Correct.
Yeah. Head on to there and have a look at that. But yeah, a couple of years ago, how old have you been? Like, how old are you now?
I just turned 20 the other day.
So like, yeah, freshly
Fresh,
18, I guess.
fresh 18.
Just rolled over to Tahiti. Talk to us a bit about like who you went there with, who you were staying with, and the week sort of, or however long it was leading up to go on that wave.
Yeah, I got the call up by Owen Milne, the Surf and Oz film, where he's like, "We're going over. Like, it's gonna be pretty sick. Like, you should definitely try and tag along. Like, it'll be so good for you. We're gonna go with Kersey and Sierra and Molly Picklum." And I was like, "Oh yeah, like, fucking no, if I'd be frothing to go do that." I actually like went there with my mate Huey a couple months prior to that trip, and we got so skunked. There was like all the Hawaiian crew there just like being pigs, and like, well, it wasn't that good.
I don't believe you that Hawaiian crews were being pigs. That's unheard of.
Nah, they were just fucking trying to own it. Like, yeah, they were trying to fully own it, and me and Huey were just like, far out, this is so hectic. But we didn't really score like that hard. It was like 6 foot. Like the biggest day would have been 6 foot, and it was packed. It was just super hard to get them. So I was kind of like off that. And then when Milne asked me to go again, I was like, yeah, like I want to go back for sure. It's such a sick part of the world. And yeah, went over with Sierra and Kersey and Molly. And the first couple days weren't that good, and we knew it was gonna get bigger, but I just like wasn't really sure. Like, I wasn't really thinking like of how big it was gonna be. I just knew it was gonna get bigger. And this one morning, like dead set, it was like as good as it gets. It would have been 8 foot solid, like so big. And me and Molly were the first ones out there, and it was like first light, and we were kind of looking at each other like, holy shit, this is hectic. Like, it is so big, and there's no one out. And I kind of just said to Molly, right, we should just go out so we don't watch it for too long. And then yeah, we just paddled out, and there's no one around. There's one boat, and that's our boat out there. And it was early morning, and it's so big. And the first sets rolled through when we went out there, and we kind of looked at each other and was like, "Oh, this is heavy." And then I guess the set come through, and then we were just out there, and I was so nervous and like rattled about it because it was so much smaller like the days before. And where the like sets will come through, it was like huge. And then this one set come through, and this is when I got my good one, and I kind of just like mind blank, and then just paddled in and went. I honestly thought I was on the biggest closeout ever when I took off, and I looked up, and I literally thought to myself like, holy fuck, I'm fucked. And then just like thought, all right, just race, and then wasn't thinking, just come out, and I was like, holy shit, what just happened? And then yeah, I guess that was just the wave in your life.
That thing was incredible, and we'll put it in here somewhere while we're talking about it. Like you sort of said, you kind of paddled out, and you had that initial shock from the day before, how much bigger it was and how much more solid it was. What sort of like was there any hesitation at all in your head, or did you just really want it that day and you were just going to go no matter what?
Yeah, there was definitely like, I wouldn't say hesitation. I just nerves, just knowing like how heavy that wave is, and like you you never ever like will surf a wave where water's drawing that quick up the face when you're paddling in. Like you'll start at the bottom of the wave and end up at the top in a second. Like you need to be head down and go the whole time. So I guess I was kind of just like nervous about it. Like I don't know, just this weird feeling. Like I don't really care about getting smoked that bad. I just get this like weird nerves. But yeah, when there's no one out like that and you have that opportunity, I guess it's just like you just got to do it because you like honestly, I don't ever think I'll get a wave like that again, like that good, that perfect, and that good. Like just like best scenario for me. I was that stoked.
Well, yeah, you set the bar pretty high, haven't you, for that thing? That was that thing was astronomical. Zach, you've also been to Chotes. We've touched on this before. You get any like that?
I have a story very similar. I'm only kidding. I got faded by a local on the wave of my life and went in straight away and tried to tell my missus about how I was charging. So no stories at all from my end. It was rather an embarrassing affair, and I had a GoPro and got a few little barrels, and
No
you're trying to tell
way.
everyone that it was 6 to 8 foot, and from a GoPro footage, it looks like 3 foot. So I'd rather not comment on my Tahiti experience. But you mentioned back there a while back there, Leno, you've got a good mate by the name of Huey Vaughan. You guys are like the Beavis and Butthead of the surfing world, and I mean that in a good way because there's so much fucking charisma there. You guys travel a lot, hey?
Yeah, me and Hugh Dog travel heaps together. Mate, it's a good combo.
What would you say your best travels have been?
Best travel experience with him. Far out. We've been on that many trips together. There's there's that many. Off the top of my head I can't. I don't know, there's like we've had great moments like where we've ganged up on people and just beat them. Like last trip we went on with Cow Robbo to Lakey's. Me and you were pretty much just terrorising Cow the whole time. It was so good. It was so funny. Cow was just like, "What?" So it's like you boys versus me with everything, is it? And me and Hugh were just laughing our heads off at each other's thing. It was so funny.
You guys do a bit of travel with Cal Hayes. He's sort of just someone you can bounce off. He's obviously been up the top before, had some really good results against the world's best. Is he someone that you look at and sort of try and not copy his regime, but sort of look to and kind of take some pointers through?
Yeah, Cow's good. Like he works so hard to be where he's at. So he's not even that much like older than us. He's only like 23 or 4. He's pretty young still. So just seeing someone like that works that hard, that's only a little bit older than us, who doesn't like really care about what anyone thinks of him. So that's pretty sick to see because I feel like everyone's so worried about what they look like and stuff, and Cow's just out there chasing it hard. So it's been pretty sick traveling with him.
Yeah,
He's,
yeah,
he's fucking good quality.
100%. And then I guess like from that, you've had a bit of competitive success recently, not just on your trips away. Recently, just got equal third, as Zach touched on earlier, at the World Juniors. You're the third best. Is it under 21 now?
Yeah, 21s.
Third best under 21 in the world. During that event, you had a bit of a funny run through that event. Sort of got through your first heat or so, and then I think it was Leo Casal you came up against in like round 3 or something. Is that right?
Yeah, the big fridge, Leo Casal. The big dog.
So he kind of put it to you early, and then you sort of got to the end of the heat and found yourself needing a bit of a score. Not, we'll get to the next part after. You did this twice in a row, but first was it like a 6 or so you needed in that first heat?
Yeah, I think I needed like a 6.5 or something. Or I don't know, maybe like a 5.8 or a 6. I don't even know.
Yeah. So with that, like when you're sitting there, like not a huge score, but sometimes they're the weird ones to get because you want to complete your wave, but you still have to sort of smash the thing to get that number. You can't just sort of grind it to the end and finish off on your feet. You do have to do some kind of explosive surfing in there, I guess. What are you sort of thinking heading into that wave? Like, are you just going, if I get the opportunity, I'm getting the score?
Yeah, definitely. Like comp like that, especially, like, you need to, like, definitely belt the wave for it to be convincing. Like, you can't just, like, safety and then do one good turn and then safety and, like, hope for the best. It's like, if you're not on point, you're going to get cooked no matter what. So, yeah, like, only needing a 5.8. It's still, like, a pretty good score, especially for what the waves are doing in that heat. It was, like, big and washy at this right point. I actually, like, surfed such a bad heat. Like, my first waves were closeouts and I fell on a good one. And Leo was just, like, tagging away and getting, like, 6.5s, but nothing more. And I was thinking, like, far out, what am I doing right now? And I ended up getting an 8 with, like, 9 minutes to go. And I was like, fuck yeah, like, I'm back in this thing. And then they were like, yeah, you only need a 5.8 or whatever. And I was thinking, like, oh, it's so doable. Like, I just need a wave. And then the clock started ticking and there wasn't really much time left. And I was like, oh, shit, like, I need to get going now. And actually, before my last wave that I got, there was, like, 2 minutes to go. And I went, the fuck this wave. And I did a carve and then, like, a little check snap. And I, if I had have finished it, I would have got the score, like, for sure. But I pulled off and was like, fuck, it's not going to be enough. Like, I said that to myself. I was like, it's not going to be enough. I need to quickly get back at the back. It's like a minute 20 to go, and I'm just, like, paddling so hard. Leo's next to me with Prio, and I'm like, holy shit, I've just butchered this thing. And then this wave came, and I knew there was, like, bombs behind, and it was, like, the first little one of the set, and it looked clean-faced, and I was like, right, this wave's going to get me the score, but Leo has Pryor, and he's next to me, and I swing, and I'm like, he's going to go, so I'll just sell him, and there's still a minute 20 left, so I'll just hope for the best. Swung, he got a wave. I would have got the score if I went the wave, but he bogged or did whatever he did and fell off.
Yeah,
very modest.
Paddle back out the back. I hear a minute to go. I go the first wave of the set, and it was a burger. I flick off. There's probably like 30 seconds to go, and the next one of the set, miraculously, just like stood up perfectly for me, and I took off. And the wave wasn't even easy to surf. I had to like fully get going and do this like snap it, like float thing, come down, do a carve, and I was like, there was a finish section there, and Leo was paddling out and legit put himself in the way of my turn and was like barking at me, going like, roo, 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 roo. So I'd like get distracted, and I was like, after I did the turn, like I pretty much ran over his head. I'll get the clip for you because I was like that far from his head, and you can put it in this. So close to hitting his head, and he's barking at me, and I'm just thinking, wow, this is fucking cooked. And I did a Larry on his head and then wrote it out, and I was just like, fuck yeah, get that up here, you brazo. And then just, I knew straight away I'd get the score. I was just that froth and just thinking, like, yes, I've done it. But it was classic that he's, like, in the channel barking at me when I'm trying to do a turn. So
that's nuts. Have you ever had, like, a competitor make noises at you before or try and, like, actively get in your way?
Nah, I've never, ever had that. I was in shock. I literally was like, wow, this dude's barking at me.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
wow. I actually genuinely, that's proper first time reaction from, I didn't know that part of the story. Like I knew you I knew you had a couple of waves that you kind of got and either kicked out or it wasn't going to be the score. And it, like watching the heat, like say you maybe only needed like a 6, which still is a decent sized score, but it was kind of like the few things that happened before that made it so crazy that you got it, because you probably realistically shouldn't have had a shot at the end of the heat. Like you managed to sell him on a wave and then still got 2 waves after that with like a minute to go. Like that's pretty nuts. But then to do it again the next heat, you sort of found yourself in a pretty similar position, except this time you needed like more of a 7.5 to an 8 range score. Against Luke Thompson from South Africa, which he's no slouch in right-handers. Like growing up in that part of the world, spending a lot of time at J-Bay, like the wave obviously isn't J-Bay that you were surfing, but he kind of put it to you early and left you needing a pretty significant score there. Were you kind of just going like, this is sort of too good to be true, that like when you seen the wave coming, were you like, oh my God, like this is nuts, or were you kind of just again head down, just going, I'm doing it?
Yeah, that was a funny heat because usually like I like to start early in the heats, and the first wave I went was like super early in the heat, and it was so shit, and I was just like, fuck, that's not what I was chasing. And then the wave after, Luke got a bomb and dropped like a 7.5, and I was like, fuck, I can't believe I just did that. Like, complete opposite to what I wanted to go out and do. And then I actually it was kind of a slow start to the heat. Like, he backed it up with an insider with like another 6 or something, and I was just out there with the one wave that was real crap. And I guess like 15 minutes went by in the heat, and I was like still nothing. And then I got a wave and got a 7 something, and then paddled back out the back and went a couple crappy waves, and then it come down to like 7 minutes in the heat, and Luke had prio the whole time till 7 minutes to go till 0 minutes. Luke had prio, and I needed a 7.4, 7 or 7.5 or something like that, and it dead set went flat. There was no opportunities whatsoever. Like, I was tripping, just thinking like, I can't believe my runs come to an end in this comp, like the biggest comp I've ever done, and I'm out already. It was like quarters or something. It was the quarters, and I'm just thinking like, fuck, what am I doing? Like, just so off it. But like, wasn't like counting myself out. I was kind of just thinking like, fuck, and please give me something, like, please. And then as the clock was coming down, I'm just thinking like, wow, can't believe this is happening. And then worst possible scenario, not in prio, Luke's sitting next to me the whole time. And then 30 seconds to go, Luke's still in prio. I'm like, he's on top of me. And then I just started paddling in and across, and he's like paddling in and across with me. And then this like 3-foot lump come through, and like I paddled like semi hard into it just to break like at least 5 or so meters from him. Like, I tried to break 5 meters, and then it was 30 seconds. This wave come through, and it looks so bad, and I'm just like, heat's done. Like, I'll just surf this wave anyway. And I paddled so hard, and Luke was 5 meters away from me, and I've stood up, and it looked like a complete burger. So in his defense, like, probably not worth going, just in case behind there's another wave, because there's 30 seconds to go. Went the wave. I did like this little carve snappy thing, and then like come down, and I've looked down the line, and there's this like full on warp coming in to hit like the inside section, and I was like, oh my god, this is it. And I just like thought, all right, let's go. And then started racing down the line, and this full bowl just come at me, and I just hucked a big punt to the flats. Made it, put my hands up, just like trying to sell it so hard, just thinking like, I'm just gonna try to sell it. I don't even claim either, like I never claim shit. And I've just thrown my hands up out of just froth, and then job wasn't even done yet. There was still another section down the line of playing mid wave, and then got back in front of the face, and then tagged the end section, and I'm just like, holy shit, this is crazy. Like, I literally thought straight away, like, I've just done the craziest thing ever. And then come in, I was like clapping myself, just thinking like, this is fucking all time. Had a career. Just sprinted up the beach, and I was like, all my dad and my coach Pete Rees and Kersey and all the Aussie crew are up there, and they're like, it's got to be close, it's got to be close. And Kersey's run up to me, and he's like, it's it. And then I've literally, like, honestly felt like crying. I was just that pumped, just thinking, this is the best shit. And then they took like 10 minutes to read the score out, and I was just waiting. And then they're like, you needed a 7, whatever, and you got an 8-1. And I've just like hugged me dad and Pete Rees, just like so stoked, just in disbelief. It was just the sickest moment, eh? I reckon that's by far one of the, like, that's the best highlight in my surfing career.
What feeling is that more than the feeling getting spat out of that Teahupo'o pit? Is that, or is it pretty similar?
yeah, that's way better, 100%. Like, just to know I can go out there and do that stuff under that much pressure in like the biggest comp, and yeah, just my dad came all the way like over to watch me. I just didn't want to waste his time either. So, and just yeah, I was just that frothing, and especially like everyone there supporting me, like had that much support. Like after that comp, I didn't really realize how much people like supported me and backing me and stuff, and then I did that, and everyone was just like frothing out for me. It was so sick.
Yeah,
It
and
was pretty
you
epic.
sort of touched on. Yeah, like it was nuts. I was watching it in the shop at Lennix there at Lennix Head Surf, and it sort of like you said, the wave itself looked terrible. We kind of just like was watching it and just going, oh, like Leno's done here. Like he's had a good event, but and then it's sort of like the further you went down, the better the wave got, and then you threw that punt and you're going, oh, he's close here, and like this is sort of a day when the wave you were surfing, it was in the Philippines, right?
Yeah, Philippines.
So it's kind of like a right point over like reef, I guess, but like 90% of the waves would go into a fat dead section at the end. Like you kind of were pulling off a lot of waves more so than actually hitting the end section. And your one just for whatever reason just gave you the crispiest little end section to hit, and it kind of you probably had the score maybe already, but then just that closing turn as well just fully put the exclamation mark on it, and I think they sort of just had to give it to you.
Yeah, 100%. Like just a gift from the gods, I guess. That thing. I was just yeah. I honestly couldn't believe it happened, and like I'm not like a superstitious guy or anything, but like every morning I was first out, like in the surf, just like for the free surf in the morning. I'd be out there in the dark, just thinking like before everyone gets out, I'm just gonna try to get waves. And if I wasn't doing that, like I don't reckon that would have happened. I was
Yeah.
just like frothing.
Oh, you put the hard work in, and it paid off with your result. Like I said, you made that win there in the quarterfinals was obviously to progress you through into the semis, and like you still in the semis, you still had a crazy heat. Like you put up 15 and a half points in that heat. You had like an eight and a 7, and you only really came unstuck through the eventual event winner, Bronson. Like it kind of you can take a bit of, I guess, a bit of solace in that, just going like, look, this is an amazing result anyway, but if you're going to lose to someone, it's the person who wins the event, I reckon.
Yeah, 100%. And like the semis was my best heat, like for sure. Like surfing wise, like the way I surfed it, that was everything that I wanted to do. And I come in from that heat, like, and said to Pete, the coach, the Surf Noise coach, I was just like I surfed. That was my best heat, 100%. And he was like, "Dude, like, what do you do? Like, you surf so good." I didn't like every wave I went was good, and like I surfed. I didn't like wasn't safetying anything, and I put together a good heat. It just yeah, is what it is, I guess. In them ones, like no mistakes were really made, but yeah, like Bronson, obviously the final was bullshit. What he was doing, like the level was insane. What he was doing was tapped, like CT and more, like better, like just as good as Philippe and John and stuff. The airs he was doing was on a whole nother level. So whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah, for
yeah,
sure. He
for
definitely
sure.
smashed it. What are your plans this year? What's Leno gonna do this year?
This year, my main goal is to qualify for the Challenger Series. But I'm going so shit on the QS right now, so that's not happening,
It's about to change this week.
which sucks. I don't even think if I win this comp, I don't think I can qualify.
That's all right. Just
But
win it anyway.
yeah, I'll win it anyway, and then nah, and then yeah, I just want to qualify for the Changers. Like I just want to get there, and yeah, just that's my main goal. I'm just gonna focus on that. Obviously want to do a few trips and go surf and have fun, but yeah, main goal is definitely the Changers. So I'll be working towards that, 100%. I'm gonna put all my energy into that, I guess.
And then look, Zach's got a couple of questions here. I'll ask the first one, and then he's got a couple of a couple of would you rathers for you that he's scoured his brain for and come up with. So the first one, which I think is actually quite a good question, really, just tell us something we don't know about Lennix. Is there anything that you do, or a habit that you have, or something weird that you do that no one knows about?
I was honestly, I'm not even taking the piss. I was literally like, someone asked me this like not that long ago, and I couldn't answer it, and I was trying to think of something, and I thought of the best thing, but now I've forgotten what it is.
That's
Honestly,
all
don't
good.
know. I
Zach, what
fucking have
about
the best one.
what's the weirdest thing you do, Zach? What about?
Fuck, do you really want to know? I've got a pretty long list. I'm a bit weird.
100. Enough about me, mate. I'm over talking about myself. So think about you.
This is an episode featuring Lennix Smith, so if you thought this wasn't going to be about you, then we clearly haven't done our job in clearly showing you that it's not about us. No, it's been great to chat. I think for the people at home, what made you move to Byron Bay? Because that's a pretty big move. A lot of people spiritually move up there, but like, why are you in Byron? Why are you in that area?
My girlfriend's up there in Broken Head, so that was like the main reason. But it actually like works perfect because the HPC and Surfing Australia is up at Casarina. It's only a 40-minute drive away from her house, so yeah, it works out perfect. Yeah, it's like the perfect scenario for me. So yeah, that's like the main reason. But I do miss home heaps. Like so hard the moves, like going from no one at home and just the boys to going up to Byron and there's fucking Spanish and all that crew just like paddling absolute gumbies. It's so hard to wrap my head around it. Like it's honestly like can't fathom these people that go out and surf. It blows my mind. They've got no respect and they're the biggest gumbies ever.
Yeah,
Not just
welcome to the
Spanish,
far
like
north
not
coast,
trying to
mate.
single them out. Like there's Brazos and like yeah, all them like European crew. Like seriously, need to like actually pull their heads in hard. That's crazy.
Zach's a bit of a punish to surf with as well, eh?
Yeah, but at least he's a local ledge.
I agree. I would be a punish
Respectable.
for sure.
No, he's good as gold. Zach, do you want to hit Leno with your would you rather's that you've come up with?
Yeah, the first one's tame. I don't even fucking know if we can say the second one. I think we can. We can just bleep it out if not. But the first one is: would you rather win $25,000 or your best mate win 100,000?
Yeah. Would I get any part of this though if I told him?
No. He has no idea about you being offered 25,000. He just wins 100,000. They're not a part of each other.
Oh well, I just caught the 25 then, because then why not?
See, everyone then just went, "Oh, Lennix Smith, such a nice boy." No, he's not.
I'm a nice guy.
Are you ready for your second one?
Yeah, fire him off, mate.
It's okay. The second one is: would you rather walk in on your parents or have them walk in on you?
Oh, mate, that is fucked up. Oi, actually, I've got a crazy good story for you. Just on this note.
Yes, please. Yes,
this
please.
is good. No, it's nothing to do with like walking in or anything, but this is a cracker. So like, I have these like wig out night terrors, and I just like wig out in my sleep sometimes, and I would have been 17 and wigged out in the middle of the night, and I've bolted upstairs to my mum and dad's room, and I'm like yelling like, I'm dying, I'm dying, like I think I'm dying in my sleep in the night terror, and I'm like screaming and going erratic, like freaking the fuck out. And then mum looks at me, like gets up and was like, whoa, what's going on? And then looks at me and goes, why don't you have any clothes on? And I've just looked down and I've got me bloody old fella out, and I'm just like, I've like woken out of it and just gone like, oh, what the hell? And I've just like turned around and literally said to myself, I thought I was dying, and I had no clothes on. I've just ran up to the stairs to me mum, full nude in the middle of the night.
Okay, we're back. Luckily, Lennix got to the end of that story before that perfectly answered the question previously where I asked to tell us something weird that you do, but good thing you came through with that one. And you may also notice that there's a slightly more handsome looking man sat in the chair now with the microphone than the previous person. Leno was actually upstairs the entire time in his little dungeon, just talking on his phone. We just called him down. His phone wigged out for some reason. We're just going to finish off the podcast, me and Leno. There's not much left. Pretty much just rounding it out here. If you weren't surfing or you weren't a surfer, what do you reckon you'd be up to?
If I didn't surf, probably just be on the scaffolds with me dad because he owns a scaffolding company. So yeah, probably just be carrying scaff around all day with the local crackies.
Nice. Give him a shout out. What's his company name for all 60 listeners?
Yeah, KJ Scaffolding. If you need house renos done or whatnot, just hit me up or hit him up, Matt Smith at KJ Scaffolding. He'll sort you out. Good disses, good poles. Heaps of good stuff.
Beautiful, mate.
Yeah.
Just to finish it off, Portugal's on right now. Give us your pick for your men's and your ladies champions at the end of the day. I want a reason for why on each of them. And this, depending on where this podcast comes out, you're either going to look like a genius or a moron. So get into it. What have you got? Who's your men's and your ladies winner?
Well, I'm actually in the Largo podcast fantasy for WSL, and I've been last every time. So what I say is probably going to be wrong. But my times 2 on the fantasy is Italo, just because he's hungry as, and he looks like he wants to win. And probably Katie again, times 2.
Beautiful, mate. And for those that don't know as well, Leno, and no one would know this because he's done it under an alias, he's actually got 2 teams in the fantasy league. I think one's his girlfriend's, but he runs it, and he's sucking on both. So, Leno, thanks so much for dropping in with us. It's been an absolute laugh. Good luck in your two competitions you got coming up. We're both, me and Zach are both rooting for you. Zach's hopefully going to be down there waxing your boards for you, getting your coffee in the morning. So yeah, look, thanks heaps for coming on, mate. Good luck, and to all the listeners, we'll see you next week. Thank you.
Cheers for having me.